I've recently been to see this very unusual property in Southsea, currently on the market with Nesbits, and thanks for Nesbits for showing me around. Had a few people who've clients have shown interest in it or asked me about it. So I thought actually going to go and have a look and get a feel for it. Maybe I'll give some people some decent advice on what to do with it, whether it's a good place to buy, and if you got the money, it's a great place to buy, I would say. Very unusual house. This entrance vestibule is has glazing on both sides. Look through to a courtyard garden on this side, and then a larger garden on the right here. This was the original exterior. This porch, and then this floor would have been exterior as well. And someone's put an extension over the top at some point, so that's the original entrance. And they were the original front doors, but actually this vestibule becomes an interior space. There's a staircase which is a bit odd in the way it sort of appears on the building to get up to a flat roof terrace. So although the garden, you're not going to get full sun all the time, you go up onto a large roof terrace where you can sunbathe to your heart's content. It's got its own garage. This wall is the only thing that's listed about the property. It's the front entrance. That's the sort of that's the vestibule through that door. So there's a drawing room, living room in here, separate little living room off the hallway here, and that goes up to the bedrooms. That was the original entrance, so that gives you a sense. We used to have a sort of glazed, patent glazing roof over the top of the whole gardens, by the looks of things, because there's even another one through here, through to where the garage is now. The original floor you can see here, and those gates, those original gates. That's the from that smaller living room looking through, and the kitchen is through the back here. These are mirrors by the stair. That's the main living room looking out onto the garden through a bay. That's the sort of secondary hallway living room, I suppose. Bedroom, well, the bedrooms upstairs are all a good size. That one's got an ensuite. Entrance hall. A massive family bathroom, another bedroom, and this bedroom actually has a corridor put through it to get roof access, access to the roof terrace. That's something we could look at opening up, doing something a bit different with. That's the rear elevation. So these bays have all been remodelled and look sort of Edwardian rather than in the house. The house is sort of Victorian really originally, but it's been modified over the years. That's the main drawing room. That's the kitchen. I think the key thing is the house to buy and modernise into a house that I think most people want to live in. How it works on the ground floor is going to be the hardest thing to reconcile, and the thing I'll look at in the design fellow video that follows this introduction. There's a sort of inner breakfast room with some larder cupboards on the left and a toilet off of it, big fireplace in the middle. This is the sort of dining room, which has got a pop-up flat roof to get light into it. Otherwise it's got no windows, but actually feels quite a light space, and you can enhance that. I think it's hard up against the boundary, so no chance of windows in there. That's the breakfast room again, back into the entrance. That's the bathroom, obviously. I think that was the ensuite. Back into the vestibule. Garden. So it's certainly a project, but it's not in horrific condition. Although I think when you start picking it apart, you might find a bit more than you bargain for. Some of the flat roofs over these entrance areas it will need some work, and I think the flat roof over this probably needs rebuilding. But the main fabric of the building appears on the face of it to be pretty good, and although one would probably end up replacing the windows, they're not all completely shot. So I think presents a pretty good opportunity, and it's just so unusual, and it's right near the town centre. Very quiet, but if you look out the bedroom window, you can see a bar, and the shops and Waitrose isn't far, and the sea's not far. Yet it's tucked away in a very secluded, quiet area. So I'm going to have a look at how one might redesign these areas. I think primarily, I think the drawing room's the drawing room. This reception room for the hallway is kind of what it is, I suppose, but it's this area here, and in a way this vestibule. What the hell do you do with a big space like that? And what do you do with this space here that's got no real views out? It doesn't have a connection with the garden. Um, Upstairs, looking at, I think most people with a house this size would want a couple of ensuites. So looking at how we could get at least one more ensuite into possibly this room at the back, and also how the access to the terrace would work, so that it goes out and it sits over the front bit of the house here, and there's some loft storage. And I think might be an option that I won't be able to solve in detail in this video, because I don't know enough about the roof's slopes and geometries, but whether there's an internal route up to a roof terrace and a potential for a sort of a sunroom up the top there, based on experience of what people are after. I think that would be something that would be a good thing to add to the property. The key thing is also to get into it as a laundry room, some often upstairs. That's something sought after, and a utility sort of boot room, which I think is easily achievable in this sort of entrance area here. So looking at the house from above, just to get a handle on the aspect and the way the sun might or does move around the house. The east is over here, so the roof terrace is this flat roof area here, which is kind of north facing, but actually once you're sat on this back face, you're going to get sun all day up there, so it's a very sunny spot. This is the little loft storage area, and that's the stair coming up to it. I do wonder whether there's an opportunity to get out through that area, maybe putting a stair over the top of the existing stair and coming out straight onto the roof, and then one could get rid of that stair on the outside, which is pretty ugly really from the garden view. You can see this is the garden in here. The garage is hidden under this tree, so that's east facing. So in the morning, if you clear some trees and planting and that probably quite a nice sunny space. As the sun moves round, the roof lights in here get roof lights into the existing kitchen, so actually that could be quite a bright space. It is backed up against these houses on Villiers Road, so there's it's a semi really. Although it feels like a detached house in many ways, it's attached to these houses at the back or to the south. The roof slopes, there's a hip on the back here, but actually the middle section where one might want to try and come out, there's probably enough headroom, I would think, to get out through there without going and measuring. That's difficult. I'm making assumptions, but if you assume there's enough headroom to walk into that room, then we probably can find a way to come up from above onto the roof, from below, internally into the roof terrace. It does present some fire escape issues because it changes the way that what you've added a new floor. I mean, effectively the roof terrace is an existing floor anyway, so building control might see it be a bit more lenient because it's already there. But by moving the stair around and making it internal, that becomes a floor. Therefore, you need to have fire doors throughout the house, and sort of the open plan nature of the ground floor might be problematic and may need a sprinkler system to do anything with this top floor formally. So this is the walk around to the house before I start showing you the design options. This is the view from the entrance vestibule, so I'm stood around about here on the plan, and I'll just sort of talk through as the movie walks around the house. So we're looking into this window, into the reception here, and looking up at that detail, looking out into the garden through the sliding doors, and then moving over, looking out of this window. That's the sort of utility space in there, looking out to the courtyard. Through into the main hallway and this open living room. View out into the east facing garden. Looking back at the stair now here, and then looking back out into the vestibule, into the drawing room, into the garden. Looking up the stairs there, out down into the kitchen space. The roof lights that were coming down here now we're in the breakfast room. Those are the cupboards, fireplace just here. Through into the kitchen. That window there looks out into the courtyard, so that's a view I think we could open up in looking at the redesign, that looks out into this courtyard, and you can see on the right here these doors. Looking into the kitchen here, that's the back door here through into the dining room, and then it's got these sort of this high level roof which brings quite a lot of light in, but maybe an option to bring a bit more light with a lantern into that roof. That's a little sort of nook there, so that's basically the dining room. Back into kitchen, and we're looking back down into this corridor, roof light above, back into that breakfast room space. There is a toilet in that that WC that is in there. Back in the dining room, there's quite a lot of natural light in there, despite it not having any windows. Back into the drawing room, just to give a sense of how that connects to the upstairs, and going up the stairs, round onto the landing here, and going into this bedroom on the back here, looking in that cupboard, that triangular cupboard there, which I think probably could get rid of. And a view out of this window here that looks up to the high street there. View out there down into that courtyard garden again, which is quite nice. Across the landing, view there, looking down into a space that's basically over the top of here. This is the view. This is that corridor with the current access to the roof terrace, and this is that bedroom in here with a sort of slightly funny shape. Back down that corridor to the top of the stairs again. I think it's over the top of these stairs that we could put a new stair up to a sunroom serving the roof terrace. Bedroom here, which pretty much as good as it is. That's just showing the stairs up. Looking across the sort of porch and drawing room. And that's the sort of little loo there, and then this is the master bedroom and the current ensuite. Back into the hallway. Down the stairs, obviously. So we're back down in the hallway here, and then back out through the door, and just shows sort of this nice porch space, nice kind of gates, and onto this little lane, which shows the outside here. And if I just go back a little bit, that's the lane, and then the garage is down there, and the courtyard garden with the round pond is through that gate behind that wall. So looking at the ground floor, a few things to sort of, I think, draw in, just to give some sort of parameters to it. Somewhere it's probably not a straight perpendicular corner, but there's a garden in there with a pond, a central pond, a sort of Italianate garden, and then this wall is the listed wall, and that runs down to the garage, and that wall runs down and forms a plot that's something like that, with a garage at the bottom with access, listed wall, and the house sits in here. This is east facing, as I said in the aerial sort of map view. So morning sun in here, and then it tracks round, evening sun into here. This area is flat roof over the top of this part here, and then the bedrooms will sit over the top of here. So I think the key things with the ground floor: what do you do with this space? How do you get a good modern kitchen out of it? And are these rooms sort of sacrosanct? Must they be kept as drawing room, living room, and reception? Probably, because if you put the kitchen here and moved all of those rooms to the back, they've got no natural light, and probably no windows, and probably a kitchen is a space where you could live without that kind of view of the garden. Having said that, there is an opportunity to link to a garden here. On the top floors, we'll look at that in a bit more detail in a minute. On the first floor, pretty well laid out, I suppose, but there's a massive bathroom that feels like you could make that work a bit harder. And there's a lack of en suites for a house of this size to modernise it. Most people will be asking for sort of separate en suite, so maybe as this is the easy bit, I think keep that bedroom. I think maybe that toilet could become part of a master suite, and keep it kind of as it is there, and put a door in, say here. Let's get that bit of Tipex in here. Then the bedroom is a very good size, but there's no, a dressing room is a sort of almost must-have request. So trying to fit one of those in, I think, is keep all that is as it is. So the rooms, 4.5, 4.4. So took out a couple of meters out of there, we'd still be left with. So you do obviously reduce the size of the bedroom, but it does potentially give you a whole load of hanging space that would be a large wardrobe within the room. Currently there's a whole load of wardrobes down that side. That, I think, would mean you could put a bed just here. Decent size bed in this area. And have an ensuite here. You could probably get a tub bath in there, shower here, and I don't know, either you could have a couple of basins on that wall, or a big kind of vanity sort of unit or something here. Would work pretty well, I think. And then you've got a sort of hotel effect. You come into a lobby, your toilet's over here, which I think is quite nice to have that separate, and then a nice bedroom. So I think that's a pretty easy win. I think one thing to think about is is getting a stair up to the top floor. Now this roof over here, from what I can tell, is got a hipped roof. There's limited headroom here. But in this middle area here, there probably is room to put a stair up to the roof terrace. You could put it over the existing staircase, which, look at the pictures of that. There's one of the landing, here, this space. So a stair over the top of that would probably not affect how that space felt too much. It sort of blocks the headroom a bit and the sense of space, I suppose, but that would be the sort of the easy option. The other option would be to sort of tuck it into a sort of a cupboard type space, I suppose. I would say put it in the back of the bathroom, but I think the headroom of that roof would be difficult to achieve that. Because you've got a sloping hip. So for now, I'm just going to say I think there'll be other options, and there'll be definitely an option to try and disguise it, but I'm going to put a stair over the top of the existing stair just to demonstrate the point that we want to get internal access up to that roof terrace. I think if it was done in the same style as the rest of the stair, it would feel like it kind of always been there, probably. You get some natural light into here. There is, potential to infill that space, I suppose, but given that really this sort of quantity of space is not the problem, it's a quality issue, I think, overall. We could split this bathroom into two, because what this house doesn't really have is a small sort of study or something. We're sort of working from home and the like, so we could knock through there, get some natural light into there, and have a large bathroom, family bathroom in here, which can have a shower here, probably a bath. You could have a tub bath sort of here, I suppose, and then the toilet, and basins or some other version of that. There's plenty of space there. You have a desk in front of the window then. It could just become, the other option for that is it becomes a linen room, a laundry room, so you put your washing machines in there. Wash, tumble dryer, washing machine, you got room for that, becomes an ironing board then. So you got your iron, probably it's a bit smaller, but you get the idea. Some linen cupboards, and you get a kind of really useful space. So we'll go with that and try and find another space for a study. This has a window looking to the road, looking up the road, which is quite a good aspect. You can see up through the street up to the main road, and it's obviously got that bay window and getting an ensuite. This is the second biggest bedroom, so could you get an ensuite into that one? If we're going to get rid of that stair, then in a way that space comes up for grabs. Now this room is 3.5 by 3 plus the bay, so is a decent size. It feels like that's the second biggest bedroom, and some sort of bed in there, but ensuite in there. So you could put a wall. That's a funny sort of wall in there that makes that room an even funnier shape than it is. So I'd be tempted to divide that into two spaces like this, where that becomes your shower, basin, toilet, and then you get a walk-in closet to that room. Through here, and then we get windows, we've got the bay here, and then that room, the bed goes there, I think, quite comfortably. There's room for a dressing table here, or in the window. I mean, it's kind of bigger than that room in a way, and in a way you could decide to make that the master bedroom, I suppose, and there's a few options there. So you've got kind of two options for master bedroom. And then if we're going to get rid of that stair, and we've got this room. Now I always think, people ask me for sort of 4-bed house with 3 en suites and a family family bathroom. That means that the 1 bedroom without an ensuite often gets the biggest bathroom, but if you've got young kids and things, a family bathroom is a good thing. So you could decide to make this into, so one option for this. What I'm trying to say, I suppose, is you could put in, you could actually do that, and you could have basin on that wall, toilet there, that kind of thing, and the same for that one. Then each bedroom's got an ensuite, but strikes me as a bit bonkers. So I think what I would do is probably do 2 with ensuite and then a family bathroom. Even I think sometimes 2 en-suites is a bit overkill, but that room seems big enough to have it. And then, well, that's a big old space. This is where I sort of think that you'd want to keep 4 bedrooms, Could you rearrange the walls to keep 4 double bedrooms? That room's not huge. I don't think you'd want to move that wall, and it wouldn't be worth spending the money to move it a foot or something. So what do you do with that space? Is it possible to have a so you could have a linen cupboard here, but the drainage is all over here, so washing machines and the like. So I think there's a few options here. I sort of can't bring myself to draw another ensuite, but you need a door in there. So it might be possible. Let me have a think about this. So if I want to study. So if I'm thinking, actually have a small study in there. Something like that. And then you have the door here, just to take it out of that room. You could have a cupboard off of it here. Just trying to get the doors out of the room and make the most of the hallway. So something. Could be a cupboard for water tanks or something, I suppose, for your pressurized system. So we could put the pressurized system in there, and then you got a cupboard which could be a bit bigger. I'm sure there's a slightly better way to plan that out if I thought a bit more about it, but in principle then you could have the bed sort of on this wall here. You have some wardrobe cupboard space here. You got room for a desk or dressing table here, and chest of drawers in the corner for a funny shape. And then this room, and then you've got that study space, which I think is kind of useful, or a fifth, a small. If that's 2.1 that way, then you can get a sofa bed or a single bed in there as a sort of guest room. So there's a few different options there, but I think fundamentally finding somewhere for water, for pressurized system tanks, is important. A linen room, laundry room, I think upstairs is a sort of much asked for thing. Makes sense. You can dry and everything. You could even take your washing out up onto the roof to dry it from there, or downstairs. There's a few options that work. So I think as a first floor, that's going to work quite well. This hallway feels quite dark, and whether there be a way to get some light into here and perhaps under here, there might be a way to bring in natural light. But I think that's a pretty good plan there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a study, plus a linen laundry room, plus a bathroom with 2 en suites and 2 walk-in closets. So that's the easy bit, I think. And then the ground floor is the challenge. I think if I bought the house, I'd just accept the vestibule as the sort of space it is, and just its space, I suppose. But my hunch would be, if someone was buying it to completely modernise it and turn it into a modern home, people would want to know what that is and what you want to do with it, which is entirely understandable and reasonable. So it's got good views in a way out to these kind of courtyards, and this little courtyard here I think is quite charming. But what do you put in it, and how? And the other question is the kitchen's over here. Now the easy thing is to take out. There's a big chimney in the centre here. You just take that out, take out these cupboards, and then I think that's a pretty easy conversion. So maybe we'll start with that. That toilet wedged in there strikes me as a bit odd, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I presume, well, I'm going to get rid of that as well. I'm just going to clean that up. That we can have a nice big kitchen run across here with a big kind of range or something in the middle, with full height cupboards either side, and then get a nice big island in the centre of there. So come off a metre, 2.5, 1.2. So you'd end up with an island like so. Now, you could punch a sort of window. This room has got a window here into that room, which actually you can see in the details. I'm seeing it well. Saw it while I was there, but there's definitely a window. Yeah, so it's that window there in the original, which when you look at this view is that window in here. So that window, and just to make sure I didn't actually show it on camera, that window is there. So there may well have been a window there, but there's going to be one now. So if we put window there, that opens up that bit of the house a bit. I think when you come in, you'd see the kitchen. I mean, you guess you could have it as an open door or something, but I quite like the fact that you have to get to it. You have to find it. You can see it, but you can't get to it immediately. I think the stair definitely sits under there, and I think there's plenty of sort of storage under the stair. Just rifling through the pictures. Right, so the stair's actually open with a mirror behind it. Quite like the mirrors. I mean, there's something of the sort of Sir John Soane's house in Holborn about this place, that, or certainly there could be. He used mirrors a lot. In fact, that house, there's a in the main top first floor drawing room, the big sash windows. This thing's I went in about the first time I went was in the late 90s, and this is one thing that stuck in my mind. If that's the sash windows, there's the sort of the sash box in the centre, which gets quite chunky because it's actually two back-to-back sash boxes to form that central bit. He put a mirror just here, a slim piece of mirror, which is a master trick in reducing the impact of a large white box between two glazing. Georgians were trying to slim down the windows, maximise glazing. They went for insanely thin glazing bars, and a bit of mirror there just helped to merge that as almost one opening. Had they had bigger bits of glass like we do, they would have done it. That was the goal. So, so the mirrors and things in this house have got some of that just sort of Soane spirit about it, I think. So we've got that view there. We've got this. Then we've got a nice space here. I then think about there's a back door there into that courtyard, but also there's a small window that we could just open that up, and then the kitchen has a view of a garden, which I think is important. It's not the main garden, but it's a little garden. There's a gate in here as well, which we kind of could come straight in from there, I suppose, from the shops. But then you've then got this sort of funny bit in here, and the roofs over all of this area all looked a bit worn. When I looked out the windows, I think you'd end up replacing all of the flat roofs through there, where the ground floor bit abuts the main bit of the house, and I sort of wonder whether you'd just create a bit of a better toilet and boot room and cloak room in there by squaring that off, perhaps. Let's have a look at the photo. Sometimes you just end up, so it's this corner in here, and I don't think it would be a great loss really if you lost that, made that bit of space more sort of storage and cloaks and things, which would mean this space, what I think happens with this space is it ends up being full up with stuff. And it's a great space. You've got little kids with scooters and things, you can whiz around in there, and I'd probably probably build a skateboard ramp myself for me, but most 50-year-olds wouldn't do that. Right, so let's create a space there, a sort of cloaks space with a downstairs loo. You can have a cupboard in there, and I think I'd possibly think about squaring that off as well and make that a kind of cupboard. Maybe that's the sort of architect in me wants to square off all the rooms, but I don't think that would affect the feel of the vestibule, and if it did, I wouldn't do it. So I think that would be something to review when looking at it, if one looked at it in a bit more detail. But here you get a really good utility cloaks room. You've got a cloaks cupboard in there to put something, bit of storage in there. And then you replace these doors. And these doors are nice, slim line sliding doors, a bit like they've got, or maybe bifolds. If you could, in the summer you could just leave them all open because it's with the wall and everything. It's kind of secure. And if you lock, that's the old outdoor door. This space, you could just open those doors up, stack them here, and leave them open all summer. And then you get full access. This has got a kind of interesting round pond, which I suspect most people would dig out, but I would definitely keep. And that, I think, then you got that view. When you come in the door, you get that view through. You've sort of begun to open up the house a little bit. I think in here, conversely, I would close off this room with a summer, and it would need to be fire rated to. I think actually I'll do it the other way. So we do them opening that way. Set of double doors, glazed, crittle or timber, nice timber screen. I'll put a nice one in the former Gravedigger's pub. Nice sort of ash glazed screen a few years ago. And then that gives you the option to have that as a separate room, as a study. You could work from home in there. There's a nice sort of study rather than the small one we've done upstairs, which is more of a, probably a cupboard study. Or it can be a separate room. You have a TV on this wall and so nice little sofa. Here, a couple of armchairs. And maybe I can't remember if there's a door out, but you could convert these bays into French doors, I suppose, to get access to the garden. Like so. And this is the sort of vestibule entrance here. Then the drawing room, you kind of got to think is going to stay as it is. I can't really think of a good reason to mess that up. It's a nice room. And, it's big enough for sofas or country house type. Footstool in the middle. 2 armchairs here. Sort of the perfect room, really. Little table lamps here. And you've still got room over here for a drinks cabinet. And you can have some bookshelves along the back wall here. So that's easy. Just needs a good interior designer to do the work on it, really. Down here, there's some glazing over here, so there's some natural light coming into this part of the room. You could block this up, I suppose, and then go in that way, but as I said, I quite like the fact you have to go into this lobby, make sense of that lobby. If you start getting access to everything off of make this the hub, then this loses its sense of what it is. And then there's quite nice sort of clear story lights through here, where there's a sort of pop-up flat roof, which I quite like. So I think one would rebuild that, probably run that roof glazing if you can. Again, depends a bit on the actual geometry. So you'd have a roof light maybe running all the way through there. So that's a sort of lean-to sloping roof like this. Oh, draw off camera. So down this side, there's a sort of a glass roof leaning against the first floor that brings light down into that space or into that corridor. by taking out that wall, we've got that light coming into the kitchen. We're going to have the sink here. And then this space becomes a really good family room. So you've got, I mean, there's so much space, isn't there? It's amazing. You've got a lovely drawing room here that you possibly don't use all the time. Little TV snug. Oh, drop my pen. TV snug room here. Drinks cabinet in the corner, or as an office, nice office. Nice hallway here, just as a hallway, and then you've got this space here that you could have a dining table here, so we could get something that's probably an 8-foot, nice big 8-foot table, which will give you, well, comfortably room for 4 drawing of chairs there. So you get 10, and at Christmas or whenever you could extend that out to make a much bigger space. Whether you need that door in there, I don't know. I mean, you could infill that and put a larder, I suppose, or something. But and you could possibly have an even bigger island than that. You could have people sat there, and then you've got space for a sort of an L-shaped sofa in here, perhaps. Where you put your TV, I don't know. How many obvious wall is there, but you can't see it from the sofa. Maybe on this wall or something here. Do something in there. TV in there for watching the football. And we'd have a door here that you wouldn't need to keep. In fact, it could be a pocket door that could slide into the back of the cupboard here, so it slid away. But it would need to be fire rated. So fire rated. When you're coming down this space, this is the issue with with current regs. That this space is a porch, I suppose, and it would kind of need to remain as such, and not a room to get a fire escape out. So actually a fire strategy, once you put a second floor on for a house like this, needs careful thought from the beginning. I need to move that down probably. So I'll put the dining table here, L-shaped sofa and TV in here, and that corner there is a bit useless, and I sort of wonder if you couldn't just square that off and even put a bigger, maybe that's the only little extension that I would do on this house. I'd try and get that in here like this, and take off this. Like so, and then I think you could turn the sofa around. I'll draw that when the ink dries, but then you could have a big 100-inch TV on that wall, and then you just have a small TV room there. You don't need TV in there. You don't need, and this becomes just a space where you could have some sort of, I don't know. I imagine, having seen that old photo here, this old photo, just making it a bit like that. Really, it just becomes a sort of an outside space. You have sort of some sort of wicker type chairs here for morning coffee, something like that. Plants. It's obviously not as light as it was because it used to have a patent glazed roof over the whole thing, but I think you could get some of that feel back. So these are bifold or sliding doors, and I think in this instance I prefer big sliding doors because you get less frame, but actually in this instance perhaps bifolds would work quite well because you could just open that up in the summer, and I could imagine just wanting to leave that open all the time. So we're going to put a set of doors here, glazed doors, TV there, and put this L shape through here, like so, and then that ground floor works pretty well, I think. And up on the roof terrace, so the stairs going to come up stair will come up. That's the. It's difficult to quite work out what's what, but yeah, so something like that. The stair's going to arrive there. So we're going to try and connect it. So maybe there's an opportunity for a. See how big that space is. Not that big. If we made it 3 meters, could have a room up there. You're going to need a door at the top. You can have a window here. So door, glazing, nice view. When you come up the stairs, see straight out onto the roof terrace. And then the roof terrace is that, because that stair's gone, which I think improves the outside as well. Some glass doors, French doors on here. And you could have a, that's just enough room for another little living space really, but primarily as access to the roof terrace, which this side of it, so all of this is going to get full sun all year round, and you'd need planning to enlarge that top box, but I can't see that would be a big drama, particularly as the building's not listed itself, so just the garden wall is. Then you could have a bar or something across here, and you could have you could even have a sort of another mini kitchen or something up here, or you could have an outdoor kitchen down this side with one of the new Smeg electric barbecues all the way along there, so that could become a really great space. You probably spend a lot of time up there in the summer, and have a roof light on top of here, because this is north facing, this glass, so you get a bit of light in, but it will remain quite a cool space, so when it does get too hot out here you can retreat into the inside. You could have a pergola over the top of it. And imagine sort of planting all the way along here, along this sort of side, to give a bit of privacy. And just when you look up at this view of the building, then you'd see sort of planting up above that wall, which I think would add quite a lot. So I think that really sort of delivers that as a really nice modern house. So as a ground floor, got the drawing room, snug study, the vestibule space, which we just leave as to accept it as the big open space it is. I mean, I did wonder whether you put the kitchen in here, but then you wonder what you do with this space, because you've already got enough room. So, and coming into the kitchen straight away would seem a bit odd, but it is a bit of an odd house, so I guess that could be an option. And then that becomes a big sort of family room or games room or something over here, or you could divide that into two. So if you did do that, you could actually make that the study. That could become a games room here, because you could have a snooker table there or a ping pong table, and a big TV here, and it becomes a sort of family, sort of, small kids, big kids, and adult kids kind of space. You could have a gym bike or something, a Peloton bike or whatever in the back there, I guess. And then this would become the kitchen, and you could have, what would you do? You'd have a big island somewhere. You keep that as the larder. Maybe you'd put a big island here, and you can basically fit a whole kitchen into an island, really, and have your ovens. And the only thing really is a big fridge that you can't fit in an island, and maybe a tall set of ovens. So you could have those over here. And a larder, utility space here, and then your dining table sort of sits here. Yeah, What's wrong with that? It is a weird house after all, so whilst it's a bit weird to come in the front door straight into the kitchen, be a bloody nice kitchen. You put your hob on here, the downdraft extractor, and then you got your snug here. So this could become a sort of library, office, study space with doors that sort of fold back here. Door to that room could be here. Stair sort of stays where it is. So I think just to summarise, ground floor. I think key thing would be to open up this back room into certainly an option A into one space. There'd be some structural work to do. Obviously, as taken out a chimney, and you may end up with a column or something here just to make life a bit simpler. But I think you could have a roof light over the top of here. Just personally, I would play more with the game that's there with clear story light and not bathing it in sunlight, but with a big roof light over the top. But that could work also. I just prefer the sort of Sir John Soane approach to things. But then he used to do big lanterns in the centre of spaces, so that that could work. Some means of getting natural light into there. Opening up this wall to the garden. The only extension I'd do potentially, but maybe a bit different if I knew more about the structure of the building, would be to infill that just to square that room off, so that sort of living space at the front with dining at the back works better. Snug here, a kind of nice Robert Kime style drawing room here, and then use the vestibule just as an open space for kids or rolling around on a scooter or something, and plants and the like, and square off this end to create better quality sort of toilet and things. And one thing we're missing, which is often asked for, is a shower, sort of a downstairs shower, but that could be done down at the garage at the bottom, where you could come in, because if you come in from running or cycling or paddle boarding or something, or you've got a boat, actually having a space down there where you kind of keep all that stuff down there seems to be something people like in a larger house. You'd want electric car charging down there, and this is the sort of utility room. So I think key things to try and get into a space is a separate living room, into a house. So a house, the kind of tick box list, separate living room, big family open kitchen that opens out into a garden with dining and living all in one space, utility room, a linen laundry room, car charging, and storage, and then bedrooms with, dependent on the individual, certainly 2 en suites if you had a four bed house. So this house uses the vestibule just as an open space. This version, rather, option A. Option B looks at it slightly differently and makes it, I guess, more of a useful space, which I can imagine people sort of preferring. Although I like this one, I think personally I'd go with the option A. But this one makes this, you have a nice freestanding kitchen as a sort of piece of furniture. And in a recent magazine that came through my door, I don't know how many people I've shown this to in the last week, but quite a few. This is a sort of piece of furniture as an island, I think would work well. I mean, it doesn't have to look like that, but just the idea that it's not just a set of standard kitchen cupboards. I mean, this one's got some sort of graphic applied to it, but the more bog standard kitchen like this, I think, would be less appealing in that kind of vestibule space. You'd want something that was in the character of the space. A beautiful bit of furniture, I suppose. Freestanding, nice dining table, bit odd to come straight into that space, but many houses, I grew up in a cottage that had a dining hall, so there's one step further to put the kitchen in it. All the larder and stuff is tucked over the back here with the ovens and the fridges, so you try and keep it as open as possible. Then that space becomes study library with a new window that looks out onto here, and then this space becomes a games room, so a space for sort of, sorry, not on the screen, this space games room with PlayStations here, snooker table or ping pong or something, exercise bike possibly, and your sort of TV space there. So those are sort of two kind of interesting options. And then upstairs, keeping the 4 bedrooms essentially as they are, replanning this massive bathroom so you get a good sized bathroom and a laundry room with and linen cupboard, ironing board and the like. Replan this end as a master suite, so take that toilet into the master suite, walk-in closet, reduce the size of the bedroom somewhat, but it takes all the storage out of the room, so the space sort of feels bigger. Nice big bathroom, keep that space as it is, but move the door, so this becomes sort of hotel-like. Come in and all the stuff is off this lobby, and then the bedroom is separate. Keep that room as it is. Square off this room here, there's a funny wall in here, and make a closet ensuite to this other big bedroom, which has got quite a good view up the road here, and you could interchange master bedroom in there. Keep the hallway nice and large, but the stair up to the roof terrace. Perhaps try and get a roof light down to get some light into this space would be beneficial. And then this corridor to the roof terrace, we're going to get rid of that external stair, and so this becomes potential for a little study with probably a little sofa bed or guest bed in there, and then space for water tanks and things on this level here. If they don't go there, then they can go downstairs. I mean, you could put them under the stairs, I suppose, because that could be boxed in. You could put water tanks in there, or there's a space in the back of here, perhaps, where water tanks could go, or in here, or in here. I think there's a number of options for doing that. But definitely need to set aside space for that, because you ain't doing the house like this on a combi boiler, so you need a good plant room. You could put solar panels up on the top floor, so when we go up to the... So then we're going to create a new top floor, which does potentially create fire escape issues that are not unresolvable, but need careful thought and planning from the beginning, because we could be seen to be adding a new floor. Building control may be lenient because there is a terrace up there, but we would be changing it, so that would just need a bit of care and thought. And with the escape through a room as well on the ground floor also is unusual, and there is a chance the whole house will need sprinklering, which isn't that difficult to do. So when you come up the stair, which sits over the existing stair, come into an enlarged room. There's already a room up there that's a storage space. Enlarge that so it becomes a little sunroom, sitting room with a roof light over the top, doors onto a terrace, and then the terrace could have sort of outdoor kitchen type. These new Smeg barbecues, electric barbecues could go up there, perhaps something like that. So you could have that top floor looking a bit like the top of a ship's deck with some nice decking, maybe a pergola over the top, and then you've really added some serious sort of extra interesting space. And the garden is east facing, so it's not super sunny, which is going to be a downside for some people. This is the place where you spend you want your sun, it's private. So the cost data I'm using for this cost budget estimate is based on my own quarterly cost estimate data that I generate by reviewing a series of projects each quarter. Just get the prices updated by a cost estimating service, and that ends up giving me some numbers that I use to cost estimate from early stages of a project. So currently the cost estimate for a new build extension ground floor is 2694. That's reduced for an upper floor by sort of 30% because you haven't got foundations and the like, so that reduces to 1886. These are all plus VAT. And then refurb costs, which covers the sort of areas that are associated to an extension that need redoing and might include forming a utility room or structural works, come out at 1250 per square metre. These are all on sort of projects up to, so probably applies to something up to around 500,000. and then over that, probably numbers would reduce a little bit. And then this data sheet, which you can download from the website, also has prices for bifold doors. So the standard, and these are from kind of trusted local suppliers. So bifold doors, double glazed, 7669. That's including that, and that's for a 4 meter wide door. French doors, which are using a Velfax system, and then a standard kitchen by Kitchen House and a standard bathroom by Little John's. In terms of costs, I think that's something of difficult thing to get your head round on a project like this. I think you could do a refurb job for probably 250 grand. I mean, it's going to need rewiring. It needs a new heating system and replumbing and all that kind of stuff. So there's a good chunk of money. There's probably 50 grand or something in doing all that if you did it with solar panels and really went for a sort of very modern system that's going to last for a period. But equally, you could do it on a budget. But I would assume someone buys this to turn it into their sort of what people call their forever home, and it becomes a kind of a completely modern space. And it's like buying a classic car and doing a kind of back to bare metal restoration and upgrading the brakes so that the brakes are modern brakes, and doing that kind of restoration of the house. It's not a listed building, so actually putting in you don't have to be too careful about some of the things that you might have to be if it were listed. But in terms of costs, I mean, I'll put my neck on the line with this, I think, but the house is 310 square meters. Use a thinner pen. 300 square meters overall, and I'm going to do these just on the video on the fly. So there's no guessing and fudging it a bit. So see what comes out. I mean, my refurb costs for if you're extending a house and then the refurbishment of the rest of the ground floor of the house, so extending it on the rear to put an extension to make open plan living to create these kind of spaces. And if that was an extension, then I would apply 2,700 pounds per square meter plus VAT to that area if that was the extension here. But there'd also be a knocking out of a wall here and some fiddling around here. So I would apply 1,250 to that plus VAT, and that one's 2,694 at the moment per square meter. Terrible writing, sorry. If I applied 1,250 to the whole house, what does that do? 310 times 1,250 times 1.2, 465. Well, actually, that's what I would say. If someone came to me and was going to buy this house and wanted to know how much it might cost them, I would tell them you could spend 250, but you could easily spend 500,000, and that seems to compute. Now that 1,250 doesn't normally include a kitchen. It does include bathrooms, but not high-end bathrooms, and doesn't normally include floor finishes. But there are large areas of this house that don't need much work at all other than decoration. So the drawing room here, for instance, just needs decoration. You could say some of the bedrooms only need decoration. So, and I think that number sort of, it's kind of interesting that it comes out like that. That's for someone to go to a main contractor and have it done for them, by the way. And you've also got a garden that would need work as well. So you could easily spend 50 grand in the gardens, resurfacing them, and then you've got the garage as well. And just elementally, if you just add up some numbers, I mean, a kitchen in these kind of houses, I think you'd quite comfortably spend, for a house of this sort, 40k. These new glazed doors it was bifold doors, are probably, if you just did fairly standard aluminium ones, they're probably 10 grand each minimum. So I'm going to put 25 for those doors. all new windows, which realistically, although some of them can be refurbished, if you wanted to double glaze all the windows, you'd be looking at, and then you've got a set of bifolds here as well to open that up. So we're gonna add another 10 for that one. All new windows. Well, how long have we got? But if you counted, sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then upstairs on the first floor, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And I've counted doubles for these. So that's 30 windows, and a window, you know, I mean, a decent sash, even a UPVC window is probably a couple of grand each. So, well, that's, don't need my calculator for that. That's 60k. That's windows. That's kitchen. That's bifolds, vest, bifolds. To the kitchen. Then we've got some bathrooms, some new bathrooms. So you're going to spend 15 grand on that one, 15 grand on that one, 10 grand on that one, and there's forming of those as well. So that's sort of 40k bathrooms. Some new partitions and forming all of that kind of stuff. Forming that wall to thing, you could put, say, 15k partitions. And I think forming like that study and the like, taking out you've got cost of taking out stairs and those sort of things. Then on the ground floor, I think this whole roof will need replacing, which I think you'd spend and if you put a roof light over the top of it as well, I think you'd spend 40k there. So roof, kitchen. You've then got floor finishes throughout, and you don't need to do anything with that floor. So you've got 310 minus sort of 50. So let's say 250 times 250 times 125. That's 30. 32, let's call it 30 for easy numbers. Floor finishes. What else is there? General structural works to open all of that space up. I think you could spend 20k there. Structural work. The room at the top, forming that and a new stair, you could go 3 by 5, 15 times 2694 is 40, so that top room is 40k. Sunroom. Right, and then I think I think they're the keys that will go glazed screen in here to put that in. Glazed screen, it could be fire rated. Oh, I've done my numbers, sorry, numbers around the wrong way. And I'm off camera. 10k here, screen, probably fire rated. We've allowed for that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm not covering everything here, am I? But it gives us a sense. So let's add that lot up. 40 plus 25 plus 10 plus 60 plus 40 plus 15 plus 40 is 30 plus 20 plus 40 plus 10, 330. Then I think you'd want to add, if we've got 250 square meters, just all, or if you just count rooms for decoration, so you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 rooms at, I mean, typically decorate a room, not bog standard room, is probably 500 quid. And there's some bigger rooms in here, but there's some smaller rooms. Let's call it 20 times 600. So it's 12 grand of decoration. Whether there's any re-roofing needs doing, so let's do sort of general. Put in 20k roofing, maintenance, gutters, etc. Well, I'm going to add that up again. I've forgotten to say that. 40 plus 25 plus 10 plus 60 plus 40 plus 15 plus 40 plus 30 plus 20 plus 40 plus 22 is 362. I'm sure there's lots of things I've forgotten. Times plus VAT and plus a contingency. So I would put a contingency on this job. I'd advise anyone to put 25% on a job like this. 20%, sorry. So if we said 362 times 1.2 is 434 plus VAT times 1.2, 521, 28. 465 times 1.2 is 558 ink VAT. So they're not far away, and that didn't include a kitchen. That does. It does have a kitchen in it. So yeah, my hunch is would be around 500,000. I think I would have to advise anyone that that's the kind of money that they'd probably likely end up spending on it. But you could spend less, and you could do it in a different way, and you could probably, with 250k, you could certainly turn it into a nice home. But I don't think you'd cover everything in one go.